tell us a little bit about what steps are involved in taking control of one's exit. In other words, how long and how much time does it really take, and what role do advisors play, and who are some of those advisors that are involved?
I've helped lots of companies. The best time to prepare for your exit is when you start. So begin with the end in mind. So start planning your organization for an exit. Most of the time people come to me, they've not thought about it. So I encourage them, I call it create the book. So let's get all your corporate records in order. Let's make sure all your contracts, that key vendor agreement that you've been doing on a handshake, the next buyer might want it to be in writing. So let's see if we can't get that documented and nailed down so it's transferable with the business. As I said before, oftentimes my clients, they're so critical to the business that when they sell, have a liquidation event, and they don't want to work anymore, I'm not going to pay for a business and it goes out the door with the purchase price. I sold a business to an international plastic injection. They hired the former owner as president. It was a 30-day deal. He could leave on 30 days or they could fire him. He stayed for 2 years, but he had $25 million in his pocket, so he didn't need to work. But he was having fun because that company went from 25 million to 50 million with the backing of an international firm. So he had lots of fun, and then he just kind of got tired and said, no, I'm going to leave. So they now have a professional CEO that's come in and now taking it to the next level. But they are really positioning to hold because they're a multinational firm. They're out looking for acquisitions. In terms of the team, of course, I want you to have a great lawyer. Most of them aren't. Have a good, solid accountant who is strategic in nature, a banker who understands small business and can go through thick and thin. And then I was always kind of against brokers. But this $75 million transaction, I kind of came to appreciate brokers. They told us that his business would sell for $50 million, and the brokers got two parties. One's not good enough. They got two parties that started bidding it up, and it sold for $75 million. Another one I was trying to sell, we knew the buyers. There were 6 buyers in the world. We talked to the CEOs of every one. We offered it to them for $6 million. Broker came in 18 months later, and that company sold for $25 million. So as much as the brokers always get the big paychecks, I do all the work and just get a little scratch at the end. But they're invaluable to the transaction. I encourage you to have a good broker.
Before you pass that along, a quick follow-up there. How about the really more human and emotional side of transactions? Have you seen psychologists or mediators involved in any of the transactions you've been involved with?
Not in the transactions that I've been involved with. I will say that I've been therapist to many, because I have a personal relationship with my client. And so I won, he sold for $12 million. He had a 1-year obligation. So good guy I am, I call him up, a week after the sale and says, how's it being an employee? And they don't like it. I mean, they got to answer to people. He sent me a 65-page document, was how the international company has simple management processes. And Jeff, would you read this and tell me what I need to do? And I said, I'm not reading it, you're not reading it. Just do what you're doing. If they want to fire you, you don't want to be there anyway. So just keep running. But it's a huge emotional thing. You gave birth to this company, you've nursed it for 10, 5, 20 years, and now you're going to let it go. And the buyers are going to change the paint color, and they're going to let your cousin go who works in shipping, and they're going to change it. So it's an important thing to think about and prepare your clients that, hey, you're not going to be in charge anymore, but you're going to have a fat check to live with.
Yeah. All right. So Ray, what are business owners most surprised by when they start to explore a sale to a third party?
You know, the biggest surprise for most business owners when they get ready to sell is the value of their business. You know, that's a major problem. I can't tell you how many times we run into that. You run into a seller that wants to sell and they think their business is worth $3 million, $4 million. And ask them how they got that number, and no offense to accountants in here. My accountant said. And as you know, there's sometimes a difference between generally accepted accounting profit versus economic profit. But so what we find oftentimes, this person is ready retired, they think they got a gold mine at the end of the tunnel, they're gonna get $3-4 million, but it's only worth $600,000. So it's too late to change that. And a couple of people talked about exit planning. The start of the exit planning is like you said, put a plan together when you first start, but also understand the value of your business and understand the ending, how much you need, and if you sell your business, is that value realizable? And if not, how do you change it? Now, small businesses, and I say small businesses in general, under $3 million in revenue, is priced at a multiple of seller discretionary earnings. And that's what's left after you pay all your business expenses, to pay yourself, service your debt, and reinvest in the business. Now, in the larger deals, it's more on an EBITDA basis, and that's the difference between that is they don't count the owner's comp in the equation because it's a strategic buyer or a financial buyer and so forth. But you need to understand that there's two ways to increase your value. One is first of all, small business is a risky business. I mean, anything can happen, and you can go out of business right away, or your value will go down right away. So if I came in today and valued your business and it was $3 million, and then 2 months down the road something changed and your profit changed, now it's $1 million. So it's a risky business, and so you have to you got to kind of manage that. So I guess I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you. So, Kristen, let's turn this a little bit over toward mergers for a second. And happy merger between businesses doesn't necessarily translate to the employees and the teams involved. Can you, what about a leadership plan to ensure success when you're merging two teams?
Culture has really emerged as was one of the dominant barriers to effective integration. So companies with different cultures find it really difficult to make timely decisions and execute on the business plan. If you've got employees that don't understand each other, that don't understand the hierarchy, maybe don't understand what their job description is, maybe have concerns about who their new boss is, who they report to, expectations, has my job changed, all of those things, and when you've got a merger going on, can really send the company spiraling and off their track as far as their profitability for a short time if you don't get in front of that. So for this reason, it's the best practice to consider cultural fit early in the sales process and make sure that your leadership understands that and is getting in front of it. So what does that mean? What questions should you be asking, thinking about? So there might be decision-making style. Is it consensus or is it top-down? Leadership style, is it dictatorial or is it more of a consultative? Ability to change, willingness to risk new things, or is the focus to maintain the current goals? If we're not going to change anything now, we're going to change it later, or we're going to change things right now. And have a communication plan around that. How do people work? Are they formal? Are they informal? Does one company require that they punch a time clock? Does the other company say, you know what, just as long as your work is done, you can come and go? Those are the types of things that can really build some strife, some worries for many of your employees. So beliefs regarding success. Is there a focus on if the team is winning, everybody's winning, or is there individual accountabilities? Are you calling out stars? So those types of things. What are your core values? Do the core values align? Have you talked about those? How are they going to impact your leadership? Is your leadership talking about core values? Have those changed as a result of the merger? So culture is kind of a soft and squishy concept, but it can really, really get your company get your undies in a bundle, so to speak, if you're not able to manage and deal with that culture before it undermines the desired goals of the company.
All right, good, thank you. So Dale, Jeff touched on this just a little bit at the start, but for you, you know, a transaction can often be more like, closing a transaction can be more like starting a new relationship with the business. And what advice would you have for folks as they think about their exit and what they want to do? Stay on with the business, get out of it completely, or some other hybrid, like be a board member or that kind of thing?
It's a really good question, and I'll preface it with this. Looking at the major transaction I was involved with was selling Sansio to Physio Control of Redmond, Washington, and Physio Control was 97% owned by Bain Capital. So my due diligence was done with me and my CFO, with a good lawyer that we had here in town and a good accountant that we had here in town, answering 869 questions. We logged them all in, we had to fill all this stuff out. But to kind of address what Brian wanted, there's kind of, whether you're doing the size deal we did or when Bain sold to Stryker for over $1 billion, there's probably 869 or 868 questions they're going to ask, right? What they didn't really inspect at the time, I was told, and what we had the benefit of doing because we weren't for sale. We were looking for PE, we weren't for sale. They came knocking to us. We did reverse due diligence. I think that's the key, is we did a lot of reverse due diligence, and we went, and I probably didn't have 800 questions. I probably had 75 that I really wanted to know. And most of it, with us being a software company, I wanted to understand their technological roadmap. And they were a medical device company. We're a healthcare software company, and I wanted to see how it's going to merge together. What you're addressing with the cultural stuff, you know, we went to Redmond, Washington a number of times to meet them, and they're really great people. And we're thinking, yeah, this is going to work out great. They're nice people. We're Minnesota nice. You know, I never knew I was Minnesota nice until I moved to Mississippi. I never heard that term. I know you're Minnesota nice, but so culturally it seemed to be a good fit. So when they were doing their due diligence, they would ask my senior leadership team, how long do you want to stay on? And most of us said, you know, we were at the time, what, at the most I was making 50. We said, we'll stay on for 10 years. But what you don't anticipate, some of the stuff you don't anticipate, is what's going to change after that first sale. For me, as Brian mentioned, there was another sale. So Physio Control, where I became part of a 10-person executive leadership team, got sold to Stryker, which I knew that would come because Bain Capital owns it and they're going to hold investments for so long. But once you get to that size organization, it's really hard to anticipate what your role is going to be in. But if you back it up to just my first transaction that was of significance, I would say do your reverse due diligence and determine what kind of role do you want to play. I was very blessed that the CEO of Physio invited me to that executive leadership team, part of the whole worldwide organization that they had, with the opportunity for me to expand my responsibilities behind a US-based company to a world-based company. So I learned a lot in my 3.5 years of doing that, and I enjoyed that time. And it wasn't until Stryker came where I realized me running a 75-person company doesn't really fit in with a 26,000-person company. But the key to it is doing your reverse due diligence and figuring out, do I want to be part of this moving forward? As Jeff said, you know what they're going to do? I had Sansio blue and orange. The very first thing they're doing is putting it in Physio red, right? They're changing. You know, I had the club at Sansio Duluth. We built this beautiful health club. It became the club at Physio Duluth. You know, so they're going to change them, and you got to be okay with that. But for us, it was a strategic play that I felt for the benefit of the shareholders who I had and the employees, that would be a long-term benefit for them. I really didn't really care so much for me what long-term outcome would be, but it does, again, come back to doing reverse due diligence.